There it is, new sexy.
We're home, Sarah. Are you home?
Yeah? Yes, I'm home.
Goodbye, Sarah.
And remember, fair maiden, should you need us.
Yes, should you need us for any reason at all.
I need you, Hoggle.
You do?
I don't know why, but every now and again in my life, for no reason at all, I need you. All of you.
Well, why didn't you say so?
Yeah, Ludo!
Woohoo! Yeah!
Yeah! I'd say, because anyone wants to play Scrabble.
Hey everybody, this is Wildfire One. Again, this is Nerds the New Sexy, episode 49. With me today is...
Sunrise. We also have...
Gambit!
And as you might have guessed...
you need him?
So the opening credit goes to our wonderful actress, one of my roommates, Maddie. She did a fantastic job. No, but Maddie got to play our Sarah, and she did a great job, and she's wonderful. So thank you to her for doing that.
As you might have guessed, our topic today is, of course, Labyrinth. I've been waiting. I've been excited about this, and here it is. So we hope you guys are just as excited.
Fucking love this movie.
Oh,
Yeah, this movie is one of the best movies, and I was saying it to Wild the other day. Like, if I find out a friend hasn't seen The Labyrinth, I almost get angry. It's like, okay, clear your schedule. We're watching this right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Kim has
agree.
seen it. She loves it. And years ago, when I was dating a very young girl, she had never seen it, and I'm just like, oh hell no, you have to watch this. And she was just like, this movie is insane. I'm like, yes, it is.
Yeah.
She's like, so it's a movie about his crotch? I'm like, yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
David Bowie's crotch piece.
It's all about Jared's junk.
In the long run, I mean, he did kind of want to get with that 16-year-old girl, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, he wanted the baby a little bit more, but
Maybe we could have made a baby.
You know what? Hold on. Okay. Here's
for all that cod piece, he could make his own kid.
Yes,
that's all
true.
I'm saying.
Now, here's how you explain
girth.
Labyrinth. Here's how you explain Labyrinth badly. A middle-aged rock and roll star hangs out with a bunch of freaks trying to get a 16-year-old's baby. But when you put it like that, a middle-aged rock star wants a 16-year-old's baby. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound so good for Bowie at that moment.
Doesn't sound as interesting. Well, it depends on, I guess, what you're into. But yeah, I mean,
it's David freaking Bowie, dude.
Yeah, it's David Bowie. Yeah,
David Bowie could come out of his grave right now and be like, "You want to suck my dick?" And I'd be like, "Yes, yes, I do."
Don't even watch it.
You are David Bowie.
So like Sunrise was saying, the basic premise is basically the Goblin King steals children.
Yes. He offers things to young impressionable girls, or basically people and he takes their children and turns them into goblins as a trade-off.
Yeah, that's what it was. And Gambit, you just watched the movie last night. Not for the first time, of course, but you watched it.
No, not for the first time. Yeah, I rewatched it for the podcast to really get into it. And there's so many great scenes, and I don't want to skip too far ahead, so we'll get to them. But I just remember, like, oh my God, these scenes blew me away. And, like, it was so good. It's so cheesy. It's so crazy. That is one of the best lines I've ever heard, where it's like, this is fucking absolute insanity. And it is. It's absolute insanity, but in a very good, I don't know, it just... When you think of like a labyrinth, and you think of like because like a labyrinth in itself is supposed to be a maze that's supposed to drive you insane.
This is like a drug trip.
Yeah, and keep what's in the middle in the middle.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it's almost impossible to find the middle, and that's the point. And I think in this movie they did that very, very well. They really made it like one of my favorite scenes is right in the very beginning. So we're not skipping too far ahead. When she first enters the labyrinth and she can't find her way, she bends down and she starts marking arrows. Which way she's going.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a hand that comes up and flips the stone over so her markings are gone.
That little one?
Well, before we go any further, we gotta mention that this was one of Jim Henson's big movies.
Yes.
Jim Henson in the '80s could do no wrong. That guy was like the magic king.
Yeah, here's what's cool. A lot of people don't know is people know that Jim Henson wanted David Bowie to be the Goblin King, but as backup, they had Sting and Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson would have made that a whole creepier level.
Wouldn't that have been like a whole new level of oh my fucking god?
I could see Michael Jackson like doing this song, right?
No, see here's the thing. I think if Michael Jackson was in that, his
dance.
Penis would have done a set piece.
Watch me dance. That's what the song would have been called.
You know, he probably would have moonwalked up them crazy ass stairs.
Oh,
yeah, right?
God, dude.
Yeah. You want some candy, little girl?
Oh.
I've got your baby brother.
It just would have been horrible, especially much later on when, like, you know, those charges came up.
Yeah.
I stole a baby in a movie. Now, you know, don't try Neverland Ranch.
All the goblins sleep with me. That's ignorant. And I can't see Sting doing a batshit crazy movie like that.
The movie itself, and Jim Henson, like I said, was in the '80s was doing great. Fraggle Rock, The Muppet Show.
God, yeah.
You name it. There was a bunch. The Dark Crystal.
Let's all go down to Fraggle
epic
Rock
movies that were coming out at the time under Jim Henson's rule. You know, it was great.
Yeah, and the animated intro with that owl was actually done by Industrial Light and Magic, which was Steven Spielberg's animation studio at the time. And what's neat is that is actually the very first fully 3D rendered animal ever on screen.
That's pretty cool. Story-wise, it starts out with, was she babysitting her younger brother?
Yeah, and this is Jennifer Connelly, who I believe at the time was right around 16 or 17, playing a 16 or 17-year-old girl. And it's insane that it's actually Jennifer Connelly. I remember rewatching this not too long ago going, oh my God, I didn't realize that was her. It's funny because I was introduced to this movie by my stepfather who had on VHS, and we wore that tape out because we loved this so much.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, she's this spoiled little upper middle class teenager who's got everything she could ever want. And it's like, I think it's her half brother. I don't think they're ever really clear.
What do you remember?
They're not. No, it is her baby brother. Yeah, so it might be a half brother. They don't really go into the whole, broken home aspect of it,
right.
Which would actually,
and it's Jim Henson. He's not going to be like, feel sorry. This household, she gets beaten every day.
It's very clear that the stepmom is honestly just trying to be like, hey, please clean your room, not being a bitch. And she even says, no matter what I do, no matter what I say, she treats me like I'm the wicked stepmother, and I never treat her poorly.
Yeah, she's angsty.
Yeah.
I don't see her as a bitch because like saying she's a bitch is like, no, it's like she's just teenage and angsty, and she wants like that.
If she was a bitch, she wouldn't have went for her brother. We know that much.
Exactly.
That's true.
So,
okay, I'll give you that. And it's very, very implied. She actually has truly met the Goblin King previously, and she's got this weird daddy issue with him.
Yeah.
You just made that really weird.
No, but
the whole thing just got really weird. It's a little incesty now.
It's all incest.
Oh, come on. Okay. Oh, yeah. But no, it's very much implied that this is an older guy giving her all this attention and everything she wants. So it's, it's that weird, it's just kids are at that age.
So from that point, she's I don't know if she's joking or she thinks she's serious, but she's talking about, sending the kid to the Goblin King. She's talking, stop crying or whatever. And so she says the Beetlejuice, and makes fucking the Goblin King. Basically, so how does she summon the Goblin King? I forget.
Okay, this is one of the things that's always bothered me, and I think it's because the Goblin actors didn't have a whole lot of direction. They were told to just be goblins, and so there was quite a bit of improving with them. She starts saying, she does that Goblin King, wherever you may be, take this child far away from me, and all of a sudden you see like a whole bunch of goblins like packed together, like they're all in like this big goblin love puddle with just their faces. Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to make this weird because it's a weird, but a good movie. All right. And they're all sitting around going, did she say the words? And so she's, bitching about, Toby crying, which is her little brother. Yeah. And then this is what pisses me off the most. Okay. And it doesn't piss me off, but annoys me. One of the goblins says, where did she learn that rubbish? And another one goes, it doesn't even start with I wish. And then it goes back to her and it says, I wish I did know what to say to make the goblins take you away from me. Then it cuts back to the goblins and the goblin says, I wish the goblins would come to take you away right now. He just said it doesn't start with I wish, but then the other goblin says the magic words are I wish. Wait a minute, I thought it didn't start with I wish, but now you're saying it does start with I wish.
The goblins themselves have no fucking idea. The only one that knows is the one in charge. David Bowie knows what's going on. The rest of the goblins are just there like going, oh, fuck, another bitch giving away a baby. I wonder if it's hers this time.
David Bowie in all this owl glory form shows up and starts doing this cool shit with these, like basically like this, like the Fushugi Yugi or whatever the hell, those magic crystal balls that he.
Yugi?
Well, okay, that's an anime, but it's like, it's there were like these magic ball things that were on TV called like Fushugi or something like that, and it was, looked really cool.
Fushigi.
Fushigi, that's it.
Fushigi, yeah.
And it's funny too because I have 3 of them.
I got one too.
And I actually am really good with contact juggling because of the Labyrinth of David Bowie. Because I watched him do it, and I remember my dad.
Everybody wanted it.
Yeah, and my dad's like, he's wearing special gloves, and I was like, I'm pretty sure you could do that just with your fingers. And went to a Renaissance fair, I saw a guy doing. He's like, yeah, you can buy these online, and I was like, cool. Went online, bought one, and my first ever contact juggling ball was like literally that's what it was called, a contact juggling ball, and it was really really nice. And then Fushigi just like mass produced them. And I was like, I'm getting like 9 of these bitches. Yep. And then like I got, because they were only like $20. You can buy them at any like on scene on TV store. And I really practiced. And I practiced for hours. One of these days, I'll probably throw up a video on either the Twitter page or Facebook of me doing it. I just really wanted to be David Bowie with a giant cod piece.
Yep.
Juggling my balls. Like that's really what I wanted to do.
Yeah, and she's like, I didn't really mean it. And he's like, you didn't mean it. I gave you the power to do this, and you didn't mean it.
Now, when she follows through, where does she first appear? I forget.
She basically was right at the beginning of the Labyrinth. Like she's right at the I guess you'd say the entrance to the Labyrinth, because there's always an entryway. And she's like, well, I guess I got, and she says that line where she's like, well, I guess I gotta walk. Well, no shit, bitch, you don't got a Segway. Like, get to humping. Like.
Yeah, I don't see no golf cart waiting for you.
Yeah, like start
There's no
walking.
fucking escalator. Come on.
And that's where I get to that point where she gets lost in the maze, and that's where we bring in Hoggle, where she meets Hoggle for the first time, who is actually one of the best character developments, one of the best characters in that movie for me personally. Yeah. I love him so much because at first he's commissioned by the Goblin King to basically watch over her and make sure she never gets there, but he turns out to, like, watching it again last night as an adult. And I know I'm always perverted, but I really do think he falls in love with her.
He does.
Yes.
I agree.
No, he does. He absolutely does.
And so in that process of like, and then he's got this more dilemma where he's basically in love with this girl. He doesn't want to fuck with her anymore. He doesn't want to torture her in the labyrinth and make her going crazy. But at the same time, he's terrified of the fucking Goblin King.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's a very frightful character. He's deathly afraid of him, and you can really see that. And I wonder what midget played him.
Yeah,
what
but the freaking the puppet work it actually holds up today. Now, some of like the animation part of it, and the green screening or the blue screening at the time, doesn't with like the fire eyes and stuff like that. But the puppetry in this movie is insane.
Well, yeah, there was Jim Henson, man. That guy, him and his crew. I watched a thing on that, and the actual dance scenes. In the for the most part, there was of course the ones that you'd mentioned earlier. They go crazy, just act like a goblin. But the dance scenes were so involved. So especially the part where they're doing that scene where they're rolling their heads around and stuff.
Oh yeah, the funkies or the fire eyes.
Yeah, they put so much into that. They were trying to figure out how to do it. Then they figured out they can do it with the black background and the people in the black outfits. Kind of making it look like they're not there, and the certain kind of lighting that would help. And it was just intricate. They just put so much into it. It was beautiful.
So fun fact, Hoggle was a puppet, obviously, but there was a little person, or midget if you want to be PC.
I think you got that backwards, but I'm cool.
Continue.
Yeah.
So the little person was Sarah Weiser or Weiser, Weiser. I'm guessing it's Weiser, but the actual puppet Tyr was Brian Henson, which I'm guessing is probably Jim Henson's son.
Or
probably
family member.
Maybe. Or family member, or some family member, some maybe legitimate bastard. But
maybe there's Maybe you're saying that and there's absolutely no fucking relation. It's just,
Right, like there's like no relation whatsoever.
like, damn it, I hate it when people think I'm his son.
I work for him, and I'm really good with puppets, but I don't know the guy. So you get to that first scene where she's walking through Labyrinth. That was the first test, was walking through Labyrinth, and that's when I go back to the original thing when I said she gets lost. She swears to God she took a left, and then she really took a right. She took a right, took a left, whatever. She's just backwards and confused, right? And so she starts writing down on the stone where she went with her lipstick. I believe it was her lipstick. And then there's goblins that fuck with the floor paneling or the stone, and they just flip it over, and so she can't find her way.
Moral of that part are goblins are dicks.
Yeah, the moral of the story is don't trust fucking goblins. Is really they're just dicks.
Yeah, they're
Which
dicks.
I don't remember the exact order, but I do believe at one point she falls down the hole.
Oh, the helping hands.
And the helping hands.
Yeah.
I swear to God, the helping hands is probably my favorite scene in the movie.
That scene is so intricate, and because it's your favorite, go ahead and explain that scene.
Yes, please.
Okay, so she falls very much like Alice in Wonderland down this rabbit hole, basically, and she's falling fast, and suddenly hands grab her. And then it's like, oh, a hand, and then it's like she looks up and it's something. No, it's just fucking hands out of the darkness, and they're white gloved hands. And suddenly, two hands come together and make a mouth. Two other hands come on top of the hand that will go with the mouth and make eyeballs, and they go, "We are the helping hands." And they start talking to her, and it's all hand movements, and it's so precise and it's so beautiful with the movement that you're like, holy shit, these are actual talking hands. And they're like, do you want to go up or do you want to go down? And she was like, and now this is fucking retarded as shit. She's like, well, I guess since I'm already going down, I'll go down. And we are going down, and they just drop her.
Yeah, what Gambit was like saying with how intricate it is, every time a different voice spoke for the hands, the face the hands would make were dramatically different.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like a cup, like two circles and two hands and like trying to make a mouth. Every time it was a different thing that they focused on. Well, like one looked like it was wearing glasses. One of them looked like it was kind of fat and chubby. One of them had like a little like a big nose as it was talking. It's really fucking cool.
They did so much work on that. It was really fucking cool. Like it's not something you just think of offhand.
And I take it back. So when she first falls and they first grab her, they're not white gloved hands. They're creepy, decayed, like rock hands.
Yeah, like bluish, like nasty,
gray, like kind of disgusting hands.
But they're helping.
We're the helping hands.
Oh God, which one of you has the helping fingers?
Yeah. Yeah, stink fingers were on the other one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was right before that scene is one of the best, most memorable things. Yeah, it was right before that because right afterwards is when she was marking the ground and she was like, somebody's been changing their marks. This place isn't fair. And that's one of the things she keeps saying. I want to bring that up.
This isn't fair.
It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. This isn't fair. This is basically what the movie is saying is, grow the fuck up. Life isn't fair.
She kind of does too.
And yet there is a moral, and like the whole thing, like, well, you're just taking for granted what you think you know. In other words, you think you're so fucking smart and you don't know shit.
If you want to be a bitch brat, we will send you to David Bowie.
Right. Yeah. It is a very annoying scene to hear her listen to. That's not fair, because she always whines when she says it.
Yeah.
Always.
It was good acting on her part.
Yeah, great acting on her part, because at one point I started to hate her, because I'm like, when are you going to realize this place is the Labyrinth? It's meant to drive you absolutely batshit crazy, so by the time if you get out of it, you're going to go home and you're going to be put in that little straitjacket with a little rubber room, which actually are really fun because you can jump off the walls. That's the point, and that is the moral of the story, is that life isn't fair and it's difficult, and when things get hard and things get challenging, you just got to persevere. You just got to sack the fuck up and just do it.
Very, very much so that, like with the Cape saying, you're taking this for granted, you're taking that for granted. Guess what? Life doesn't care what you think. Life is life. This is how it's going to be. Bitch and go home or get through it. And David Bowie's magical crotch will be there for you at the end.
Yes.
But I was saying with that scene,
I'm so happy that everybody keeps bringing up his crotch because I feel like I was the only one watching that movie. Like, there's a point when I leaned in. I'll never forget.
Look at it. It's
like
there.
there's a point when I leaned into my brother and he's sitting there and I was like, I don't want to sound gay or nothing, bro, but I can't keep my eyes off his dick piece.
Yeah.
That sounds like
Okay,
your brother.
okay, literally at the point, like when other people had seen this movie and I was back at school and stuff like that, where we would literally on the playground take stuff and stuff it in our crotch to be Jared.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, even
That
at like
was how
9 years
people knew
old
who
or
he
whatever we
was.
were. Yeah.
That's how we knew who Jared was. He had the giant
Like, the only other scene that in any movie that ever hit me that hard with a dick scene was Watchmen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I was sitting in Watchmen. I'll never forget this because it's another one of those funny moments. I'm sitting in, so Watchmen happens. There's Dr. Manhattan. And I turn to my ex. I look at my ex-wife and I go, "Is anybody else seeing the big blue dick? Is that just me? I can't take my eyes off." And it's the same thing.
At it.
It's like David Bowie. Like he does an amazing job. He does amazing performance. I will say it's probably one of his best. It's just a wonderful performance.
Yes.
But god damn, that dick piece is just right there, and it's just not in the gay way. Totally 100% no homo. I dreamt about that dick piece.
Well, at one scene, and we'll get back to what I was talking about, but in one scene where he's talking to Hoggle about you've fallen in love with her, she'll never like you. You're a disgusting creature, so there's no hope for you. And Hoggle drops to his knees after being told he'd be sent to the land of stench, or the bog of eternal stench, and his head is right next to it. You're waiting for it to like bite him on the cheek.
Or like throb.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and if a guy's codpiece hits you in the forehead, there's no my bad for that.
No,
That's
no.
not, like, if you spill my appletini, that's a my bad situation. But you put your dick on my forehead, that's not okay.
That's more of an oops.
Yeah. That no. At that point, you either you're respecting this dude so much and you are so afraid of it. It's just like, yes, allow my forehead to be the resting place for your nuts and drape the back of my skull with your magnificent cock. Yeah, or you're going in for the kill. That's the only way that's happening.
Hashtag backwards elephant.
But
that's a move now.
But I want to go back to the helping hands because it is only a 1 minute scene. But that 1 minute scene, even as a kid,
it stays with you.
Yeah, even as a kid, it helped me because one, it's creepy as shit.
Yes.
Right. To have all these hands grab you and then to have the hands talk to you and make faces at you and all the different hands, just the precision of that. Is watching it again last night as an adult. I'm just watching it and I'm just sitting there in awe of the precision and the mastery of the talking and the faces and all the different faces they can make with hands. And there was I'm dead serious. It was just one of the best scenes, and it was one of the creepiest scenes in the world too, because you really got to think like they are the helping hands. It wasn't that they were probably one of the only characters that didn't fuck with her when they asked, "Do you want to go up or down? Make a choice. Come on, we don't have all day." They gave her what she wanted. It wasn't like, I'm going down, so I'll go down. They're like, okay, you're going up. No, they didn't fuck with her. It was like, where do you want to go, up or down? Your choice. And
again, that's about sticking with your decisions.
Yep.
It is.
And dealing with the consequence.
And dealing with the consequences, which is a great thing because, well, now for me, and this is just my logical adult brain, and maybe even as a 16-year-old, I probably would have thought the same thing. But if I'm going down a hole that I fell through in a labyrinth, my first reaction is not going to be going, I don't want to go down, I want to go back up.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought too, but
because I know what's up, I have no idea what's down. Because what could be down could be a Snarlack.
And they did say she chose down.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like really surprised by it. They're like, wow, well, down it is.
You know, I'm surprised.
Yeah, because they dropped her into the oubliette.
See, I'm surprised that there's not a porn version of that called the spanking hands.
Yeah, that would be just a 20-minute fisting scene. I feel like
probably.
It's just hands coming out of nowhere.
Yeah. Ah! But yeah, I'm sure the scene that everybody wants us to talk about, or everyone remembers, is the dance magic scene.
So let's go to that dance magic scene. That was a very magical scene. I mean, that's another thing about this movie. This movie, like as a kid, made you believe in magic.
You start just the first couple of notes in that, everyone turns around and goes, "I know that song.
Where did I hear that?" Yeah.
Yep.
Some people know straight off, like, "Damn, dude, that's from Labyrinth." But
there's even been a few times where I've made like a comment of we're all sitting there and be like, I'll be like, "What kind of magic spell to use?" And all of a sudden I'll hear somebody go, "Dance magic." It's like, yeah, my buddy.
Yep.
Well, you gotta remember too, because the beginning of that scene, the baby is crying.
Little fucker.
Generally speaking, no. Like when I watch it as an adult, I watched it again. I'm like, this baby is literally surrounded by goblins. To him, this is real. That baby, because he's surrounded by Jim Henson's Muppets, and they're all freaky as shit looking. So that baby is probably really crying his fucking eyes out.
Fucking crying, yeah.
Like scared out of his mind, and that's why they start singing the song to him to calm him down.
Yes. Now, here's a lot of fan theory, and I tend to agree with this. Jared finally has a baby that is not stupid. He is. No, I'm serious. If you look at all the goblins, they're all kind of like kooky and insane. And Toby has signs of intelligence. I think he was actually trying to take Toby to be his successor because he saw something in Toby that he didn't see in any other of the babies. Because all those goblins are stolen babies.
Yeah.
To keep him from becoming, even more corrupt as a goblin and stuff like that, he needed to calm him down.
I just thought it was really cool that he was like trying to calm the baby from crying. He was like, it was almost like a dad thing to do, like calm down.
Right,
cool.
and I think
I think that Jared's actually in that character in that scene. I think that he wanted him to be the next Goblin King.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was always my impression with it. It was like he doesn't want him to be a goblin. He wants him to become the Goblin Prince.
That's kind of what I've seen it as too. I mean, it never really made it clear.
Which and we're skipping over one of the greatest lines ever, which is you remind me of the babe. What babe? The power, with the power. What power? The voodoo. Who do you do? Like that's just the greatest opening.
You remind me of the babe.
Yeah, remind me of the babe. Yeah, it's just like, and he goes off on this great song, and he dances with the kid. And that's what kind of is a very pitiful scene because again the kid is crying, and again the kid when he starts singing, relaxes. The baby starts relaxing. He picks him up. He carries him around. He starts showing him off to all the goblins, and then all of a sudden he goes from this crying, scared kid to like, oh, this is okay. This is cool. I guess this is normal. I guess this is where I'm gonna live now.
Having fun now.
Yep, I'm having fun now. This guy
throws the baby in the air and walks away. The goblin catches it.
I
was dying.
But there was something you said, Sunrise, before we started the podcast about that with that song. Remember?
Yeah, that's right. They couldn't get the baby to make the noises. Now, this wasn't on set. This was back during the recording sessions. And Jim Henson, one of Jim Henson's friends, had the baby there. And David Bowie swears to God he did everything to make this baby cry and make noise, and it just did not care. So all the baby sounds and the is David Bowie making those sounds. It's not really a baby. It's David Bowie.
That baby could give no fucks.
Yeah, baby's like, you're David Bowie. I'm not going to cry. And this was that time when David Bowie could do no wrong. So, I mean, he couldn't even make a baby cry.
So, yeah, that scene is a very pivotal part to the movie because I mean that song, everyone knows that song, everyone knows that, and like I said, you kind of get to see that Jared isn't really that bad a guy. That the Goblin.
No, he's really not.
Jareth.
Yeah,
he's Jared or Jareth. Jared. Okay.
I always thought it was Jareth.
Yeah,
it's Jareth.
Yeah, you're right, Jareth.
Because he's fancy and he's David Bowie. Yeah. Goddammit.
So, but either way, the Goblin King isn't really that bad a guy, and you see that in the scene. Like he's maybe he was bad at one point or something. Maybe he's ready to settle down and be a daddy, or maybe he was an asshole. He just maybe he wanted to go off and drink an Appletini and let the kid deal with all the bullshit of the fucking retard goblins he has to deal with from day to day. Who wouldn't get tired of the retardation all day long with them fucking bobbling and bumping around and being stupid? I'd want to go drink an Appletini. I'd be like, fuck, dude, I want to go get some Jack Daniels and get away from this shit for a while. It's time to be an adult for like 5 minutes, please.
Yeah, listen to the baby. I'm going to go have an Appletini.
The power of the drink. So the next scene after the helping hands, what was that?
They're in the oubliette, and that's when like you're seeing the rock faces and the you're going the wrong way.
Yeah.
Take heed and go no further. Freaking hilarious. Oh, don't mind them. They're all over the labyrinth, especially when you're going the right way. And he tells that one to shut up. And he just goes, "I'm sorry, I'm just doing my job." So I haven't said it in such a long time. Okay. Okay. He's like, don't expect big reaction. Oh, of course not. For the path you take will lead you to certain destruction. Thank you very much. But it does lead to a scene with a really odd line from Jareth. And I've never quite understood that. Maybe, it's been a while since I've watched it and I missed something. But when Hoggle and Sarah are walking out and they see Jareth, but he's like hidden as like a bigger. You know, he goes, what do we have here? And Hoggle goes, nothing. And he goes, nothing, tra-la-la. Did I miss something? Why did he say that? I've never understood that line.
Maybe he was trying not to shout at Hoggle because he called him nothing.
Oh, maybe.
Like, instead of saying, like, he was going to say something like, I'm going to kill your troll ass or something. He's like, troll-la-la.
Well, maybe. Okay, now that I think about it, though, that is when he is transforming back into Jareth. Maybe that's magic word.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe tra-la-la was the magic word to turn back into Jareth.
Tra-la-la.
Instead of like ta-da, tra-la-la, that's his thing.
Tra-la-la.
Tra-la-la-la.
I mean, unless I think if you said transform and roll out, you would definitely be staring at his codpiece at that point.
It would probably grow bigger.
And I think that's around the time where she starts back talking him, and so he takes time off her things. That's not fair. He's just like, I don't give a shit.
I think the next scene is the doors. One of us lies, and one of us always tells the truth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that was right before the helping hands.
Which is a great scene. Which that in itself is a great scene because it's one of those first like kid puzzle. Like, how do you solve? Okay, if one of you lies, and one of you always tells the truth,
which one's lying?
Then which one's lying? It's a great like kid mind puzzle at first. You're like, oh, no, and then she figures it out, which is great with that kind of logic.
It's a logic paradox. It's one of those like, okay, so you're given a choice of how you're going to die. I'm going to ask you a question. And if you tell me the truth, I'm going to hang you. You lie, I'm going to boil you. What are you going to tell me? As a truthful or lying statement. So you tell them you are going to boil. If you boil me, I have now lied. I've told the truth, so you must hang me. If you hang me, I am now lying, and you must boil me.
So I get to walk away free because you're a bitch.
So you have to, So she says, like if I ask him. If he leads a certain doom, will he tell me yes? Yes, he will. Okay, is he telling the truth? Oh, no, yes, he is. Okay, so you tell the truth and you're the liar. That's how she figures it out. You feel so smart as a kid going, I know this answer.
Yeah.
Yes, and then that's when they get to the oubliette and they meet up with Jareth again, and then he tells him, well, if she ever does fall in love with you, I'll turn you into a prince, the Prince of Stench, and because if you help her, I'm going to send you to the Bog of Eternal Stench. So if she
Bog of Eternal Stench.
Yeah. So if she ever kisses you, you're gone, and you're gonna go in there. And I always remember playing that as a kid, like on the playground. Mm-hmm. Like, oh yeah, it's Bog of Eternal Stench, and if you go in there, you stink like fart and everything.
Yeah. I think that's what they were going for, though. Like, yeah. I mean, I guess they couldn't. Since it was a kids movie. It was Jim Henson. They couldn't go like, oh, I'm gonna tie your ass to 4 horses and draw and quarter your ass. They can't do that. So the Bog of Eternal Stench would probably be the next best thing.
I mean, it's just a freaking hilarious and awesome name too.
Yes, it is.
I mean, if you think about it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because it's not like you get there and you're like, oh, this place is not bad. No, it's like, man, it stinks here. Yeah, it's called the Bog of Eternal Stench, bitch. It's not a good place.
You so much just put a foot in it, you stink for 1,000,000 years or something like that.
Yeah. It never gets off of you. You just stink like ass. Imagine the worst, one of those farts where it's not even said audible. It's just it's just hot and burning. Yeah. And that's what you smell like all the time.
Just that sound that was fucking great.
And it's
the best part is
you know what I'm talking about. When you're at a business meeting, you're sitting there, maybe it's just me, but you're at a business meeting, you're all in your suit, and you're giving a presentation. You're like, oh man, I'm gassy today. All right, I'm gonna let this one out. It's gonna be fine. And you let it fly, and it's like, oh, that bird. Everybody's gonna smell this.
That's gonna be horrible.
This is gonna be bad.
That's the Bog of Eternal Stench all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
But
that's how it is.
Just before all that happens is probably the most questionable scene. Now, there's a reason Jim Henson always did certain things, and there's reasons why Jim Henson stayed away from certain things. And the scene with the fire gang is the reason you never really see Jim Henson screwing around with blue screens. Yeah. And he always used practical effects. Even at the time, it was not a good effect.
No,
with the whole blue screen that they were doing on stuff like now. That scene comes out of the blue. It's a Big Lip alligator moment, if people understand what I'm talking about. It comes out of nowhere, it ends, and nobody ever references it again. It's like there's no real reason for it to be there.
I want to say it was probably written in towards the end, and they just had to put it in like it was something. It was something maybe someone who contributed money said, hey, you got to use this scene. But the blue screen, especially back then, was really, really like noticeable.
Yeah, and it wasn't. Yeah, no, it really didn't. And like I said, the creatures were kind of just odd. Taking off their heads, swallowing their eyes, and doing weird stuff. Tossing their hands around and doing funky stuff, dancing on top of their head like a pogo stick. And it's just it doesn't fit with the rest of the movie. It's the one part of the movie I've never actually liked.
I thought it was all right. You could tell some of it was goofy and some of it was CG, but it was. I think it was there for entertainment. It was a night catcher for the kids.
Yeah, and I think that's what they were going for. It
was their big budget scene, and it did not come out as a big budget scene.
Yeah, I agree.
It was entertaining for the most part. Like, even when I was a kid, I liked it. I thought it was all right. But as an adult, you watch and you're like, where did this come from?
But then we get to the bog of eternal stench, and the bog is like actually farting and like has wet, nasty, farts that are squirting out, and
it's disgusting. It's disgusting. It even sounds disgusting. They went out of their way to make you not like that place.
And you meet one of the coolest characters very late in the movie, NITNSE. Yeah, he's almost like a Don Quixote, is what he's modeled.
Yes, NITNSE on his dog.
Ambrosius.
Yes,
that is it. Yep, that's it. It's a very scared sheepdog.
Modeled after her, and I don't want to spoil something here too quickly, but early on in the movie, she's got a dog named Merlin, and it's the sheepdog. And they did this on purpose because the sheepdog was actually very easy to turn into a puppet when they needed to.
Yes.
And they NITNSE is introduced, and he has this mount that is based off of her real life dog. Yeah, and I love that. Because they're complaining about the smell. He goes, I smell nothing. I live by my sense of smell. The air is sweet and fragrant, and none shall pass without my permission. and he battles Ludo. Ludo ends up, throwing him against the rock, and he's like popping out of rocks. He's like biting at him. He goes,
it's so funny.
You are a worthy opponent. And they like become friends, and it's freaking hilarious.
It's great because he gets up and he just like charges at it.
Yeah. I love that. Come, let us be brothers henceforth. I loved NITNSE, and they introduced him so late, but he's one of my favorite characters in it. Yeah, no real progression. No real story. He lives at the Bog of Eternal Stench to block the way to Jareth's castle. That's all he does.
He's kind of like a knight in his own sense, and it's
right.
He is kind of knightish. Like he's very regal.
Yes. and I think the Bog of Eternal Stench, that whole scene was to pretty much introduce that character. So, and of course, you get to see the Bog of Eternal Stench. So.
Oh yes, and when they walk across, and Ludo calls the rocks, and they're walking across it, and it farts every time they step on it.
Yeah.
And when Ambrosius goes running across with them, and his little legs every time it hits it.
Good stuff.
And then Hoggle meets back up with Jareth, and Jareth's like, "You're starting to piss me off. I'm gonna take everything away from you." And so Hoggle's in this predicament, and he has to give her this peach, and it's poison. Yeah, to kind of like make her forget everything, and leads to this really cool scene because she's like, "What did you do to me? I can't believe you betrayed me." Like he's basically Judas at this point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so it shows Jareth sitting up on the castle doing the real cool contact juggling, and he's turning him into bubbles, and as he's blowing them, it's like creating like this reality inside of it, and like traps her in, and really weird, surreal, like masquerade, almost like a Phantom of the Opera style, because he even looks kind of like the Red Death.
Very much.
And he's got that song, I forget what, Without You or something like that. I forget what exactly.
But he was singing it as like a love ballad kind of thing.
Yeah. And here's what I really love about the movie, especially where this is concerned. When that song was released, the video was from this movie that they would play on MTV. The whole dream sequence kind of ends in this weird, almost, what do you call it? Wasn't on Never Ending Story when Atreyu ghost and he sees that mirror world.
I can't remember, but it was
or was that the time travelers?
It could have been the time travelers.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, and it's like he sees like the mirror, and he finally breaks through it, and that's kind of what happens with her. She realizes that something's not right. It's almost like a little Inception-ish, like from the, where people start staring at her and they're laughing at her, and she's like, wait a minute, this isn't right. And so she breaks the mirrors and she falls down into that junkyard that you were talking about.
Yes,
and it's that fucked up house.
That's the scene. That is the scene. That scene as a kid scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, that was a little frightening.
Yeah,
yes.
that was. I think that was their terrifying moment.
I love
this
it.
This is not all goofy and fun. This is a terrifying place.
Well, the scary part about it was it got super serious, and this is the part where you're really worried about her because she's alone at this point. Isn't she?
Yes. Yeah, she's alone, and she's not really. And honestly, the whole thing is an allegory of what is basically she's lost her way. She's taken an intoxicated substance, and she doesn't understand what is and isn't reality anymore. It's almost a drug PSA.
Yes. This is her at AAA.
Yes.
That's what that building is.
There really is so many layers to this movie, and
in that house that kept trying to get her to forget things. That was great, and and if you think about it, and I remember being a kid, and I remember going, I would just sit there and forget about everything.
Right,
and that was scary.
And that was kind of what. Oh yeah, and she's like, oh well, here you have this and you have that. So what do you need? Anybody else for? Be selfish.
Yeah,
is what that part of it was, is continuing your selfish nature. And that was part of her kind of growing up and snapping out of it. Like, wait a minute, this is just stuff. I was so mad at my little brother for having Lancelot, which was her rabbit, to stop crying, that I gave him up to a stranger who was going to take him away and ruin his life. This is just stuff. It can be replaced. It's junk. Yeah, and that's kind of where
it's your big grow up moment.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's where all of a sudden that is when she literally woke up and grew up.
Yeah. And I believe she finds her companions just about after that again, and they
because she recognizes what's going on, and she finds her friends again. It's like I said, there's a lot of layers to the movie that start. When you get older, you're like, wait a minute.
But when you go back and watch it as an adult, like again, I watched it last night. It's definitely it's a kid's movie in the sense of puppets and magic and all this stuff. But then when you watch it, it's a great metaphor for life and how you need to grow up and how you need to realize what really is important in life, and that being love and family, and that life's not fair and you got to keep persevering. It's just got layers. It's like an onion. It's got layers.
Yeah, so much metaphor and imagery. Everything in the movie means something, and we're gonna get to that when we talk about the ending here. But yeah, she meets back with her friends, and they get to the entrance to the Goblin King's castle, and that's when the big battle starts, and it's freaking hilarious.
Let's just like give it up. Like, he's got a pretty swank ass place.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
Like he ain't broke at all.
By the way, that final battle always reminds me of Crazy Stairs.
Yeah. Yes.
Crazy Stairs.
Yeah, and actually, it is based off of MC Etcher's
yes.
Oh no, did I break Crazy Stairs?
Yeah, the Crazy Stairs. Well, that was one of my favorites as a kid. It's one of my favorite scenes because it's like
he's walking up and down it and shit.
Yeah, he's walking up and down it. But then as an adult, I'm sitting there going, all right, let's break this down. At the end of the day, you could just be like magic. No. No, because seriously, you could just be like fucking magic, and then you can move on. But not me. Oh no, I'm sitting there. I pause the movie. I get into deep analytical thought about how this room would work, and these crazy stairs. I was like, huh. Well, it is a labyrinth, and in all mythos and all mythology of a labyrinth, there's always this paradoxical multiple realm thing that goes on. That's why you can never really get to the middle of a labyrinth, because no matter what you do, you turn left and suddenly you're back to the beginning. So there is there's a sense of like multiple like realms kind of thing. Well, the crazy stair thing is like, that's like not only multiple realms, but like different gravity holds on each one of those stairs. So what if I jump from the ones that make me upside down in your perception to ones that make me look right side up? Do I flip in the middle of jumping to those,
Which
or
he
do I
does
just
do
follow
that.
my dough?
Yes, and he does do that. And I remember thinking that as a kid. It's like, wait a minute. Well, if she would to go here and do this, so you get to there. So as a kid, you're working your way through the confusion, and that was what the scene was about as well. Well, see, and for me, I always just remember thinking, it's like, well, if you do this, and he went over here, and well, if he goes over here, well, that means that one's got to go to here, and you're working through it in your mind, and it really is about her working through the confusion and solving the final bit of the problem with it.
Yeah, again, it's another one of those brain teaser puzzlers where it's like, okay, I have to go here to here. And that's, again, one of the biggest things about a labyrinth in itself at its core.
Why
is
didn't
that
you just throw something at it?
But at its core, it's all about having a clear, perceptive, logical brain.
Yeah.
That's what gets her through a lot of her problems, is being able to be level-headed, not emotional, and not being like, it's unfair. No, it's like, okay, here's the situation. It's fucked up, but I can figure this out, because everything in life, when you sit and think about it, can be figured out.
What she needed to do was find
and
a
that's what she
goblin
did.
discarded soda can and throw it at his ass. Logically.
Right at his codpiece.
Right at his codpiece.
Right as codpiece. Yeah, and after it's all said and done, that is exactly what she does.
Yep.
And he when she confronts him at the end, he's still trying to tempt her. Like, I will give you everything. Anything that you ever want. Just say the words and it is yours. Just let me keep the baby.
Which in itself is very devilish. It's very Satan-y.
Yeah.
Like, give me what I want. Give up something that means everything to you, and I will give you the world. And me, I'm sitting here going, so a harem of bitches that just want to serve me at all times? Like, is that a thing? Is that all?
Really? Is that when you would stop?
That's. I mean, like, no, seriously. Here's me. It'd be like, what do you want? I want a room with every video game in it. 17 to 35 bitches that are all sexy, ready to fuck me at any time. Hot wings and pizza at any time. Like, that's it. And then you can keep the baby. Like, I'm good.
You can have the baby.
Yeah. Well, think about what he says at the end, and it's very biblical at the end, because you take what he says, and he literally says, "Look, Sarah, look what I'm offering you. Your dreams. I ask for you so little. Just let me rule you, and you can have anything you want. Fear me. Love me, and do as I say, and I will be your slave." Her speech about, I've gone through all this, and she literally said the last line is, "You have no power over me."
And one of the things that I like about that is, again, when you look at what the Goblin King wants, because, like, I want you to fear me, and I will be your slave, is what he says to her. In my eyes, I'm kind of sitting there going, okay, this guy really wants a family. He wants a wife. He wants a kid.
That's what I see.
Like, that's I see a very lonely king. I see a very lonely king who has basically omnipotent power in his realm, but the one thing he can't have is kids and somebody to love him. But when you look at that, when you analyze that character development of, here I am, this omnipotent being, I can have anything I want. Instead of trying to make a girl fall in love with me, I will just tempt her with ultimate power and basically the same thing I have, and that's what's going to make her fall in love with me. Saying, and it's kind of almost, you're almost kind of like, at that moment, at least for me, again, watching it as an adult last night, I almost felt sad for the Goblin King, because it was like, and then that line, what ultimately kills him is, you have no power over me. And it's just like, the one thing he really wants is power over her and to have the baby. And and for all of his power, for all of his influence, for this massive kingdom, for basically, he can do whatever he wants. He cannot make this girl submit to him, and he cannot take this baby. And that is very kind of sad in a sense, because that's what he really wants. Yeah. He's willing to give you whatever you want for this one thing that he wants, and he can't have it. And he doesn't have enough power. No, like she said, you don't have any power over me. He doesn't have enough power. The power of love to get what he wants. I
think this was Jim Henson's way of saying that a woman will ruin all of our lives.
And a baby anyway.
A woman with a baby will ruin all of our lives.
Will ruin everything.
That's Jim Henson's secret message. Everybody, I just decoded it.
Yeah, and here's the cool thing with close to the last scene. Everything goes back to normal. She's back in her house. She realizes Toby's there. She grabs Lancelot, gives him Lancelot, to make him feel better, and goes back to her room and realizes, wow, all of this happened. And it's kind of one of those, wait a minute, did that really happen and didn't happen? Because at the very beginning of the movie, and we didn't cover this on purpose because I didn't want to be any kind of spoilers or anything like that, it starts going through and you see like a troll doll that looks like Hoggle. You see a doll that looks like the Fire Eyes. There's the music box. There's some goblins, and there's like all these creatures that you see in the movie that are now real. Even her dog Merlin looks like Ambrosius. Oh, and so it was one of those, wait, did it or didn't happen? And then we find out.
In that aspect.
And then we find out it probably did happen.
Well, yeah, you find out because, that the scene we spoofed from the beginning, should you need us,
Yeah. And all of a sudden they're all there. Now, here's the question. Was that in her imagination? Is she still not grown up?
Is she balls out crazy?
Yeah, and she's now has all these imaginary friends. It doesn't explain it.
Well,
but
remember, she's 16. She's somewhere between childhood and adult.
And I think that's what it was getting at, because the very last thing you see is Jareth as an owl sitting out her window looking in like, I lost this one, and he flies away.
See, I don't see it that way. I see it as I taught her a lesson.
Oh, see, that's possible too.
Yeah, I can see it as I taught this bitch a lesson.
In the long run, it might have just been a lesson learned. Maybe
true.
the Goblin King isn't as bad as we thought he was. Maybe he was. Maybe he did need somebody. Maybe he's searching for that weak soul to be with him. But in the long run, he's teaching lessons. He's like a fucked up Santa Claus.
He's like a fucked up Santa Claus.
So, the end of the movie was really cool. It did that, and of course, the music. She'll always need them. I don't know why, but she will always need them, and that's something like, and that can be said for our childhood.
Yeah.
We're always gonna need those memories.
See, and one of the things that kind of implies too is maybe it's not so much that she's calling them back and she has imaginary friends, but it's the lessons she learned. They represent the lessons she has learned. No, sometime in my life, I don't know how, but I will need you.
Hoggle could be like loyalty and love.
Yeah.
Yes. Or overcoming
Pluto's the
your
playful
fear.
nature,
overcoming your fear.
The fear of the unknown, but allowing something that might be scary to give it a chance.
Yeah.
Like anal.
Like anal.
God damn it. God damn it, Gambit. Yes, just like anal.
Damn it.
It's scary, but let's just give it a try. Come on.
Wow, we almost made it, guys.
That was like anal. That was beautiful. Oh my God.
Almost made it. I really wish that David Bowie hadn't died, not only because he was a great artist, but there was talk about doing another Labyrinth, like a Labyrinth 2, not a remake.
No, it was a huge deal on Facebook. They had actually a Facebook poster of them sitting together, and I was like, oh, nostalgia. Like now what begs the question, if she went back as an adult, you think she would have fallen in love with the Goblin King? Maybe like I'm intrigued by that cog piece. Let's see how much meat is actually under there.
What if she grew up to be the Goblin Queen?
See, and that's what I was wondering. Something like that. Or maybe in the end, Toby became the new Goblin King, or maybe the Goblin King did get his heir and he's passing it on to a new generation. Something.
Well, he was going to be in the next.
Right. What's what I mean is he's the king, but he has the prince, and the prince he's now teaching the prince, and the prince has control.
Still make another one if they just be smart about it. Yeah, but it won't be the same. And of course, Jim Henson being dead, rest his soul. It was a loss to all humanity once Jim Henson died.
Mm-hmm. A good guy too, from everything I heard.
Oh, yeah.
Same with Mr. Rogers. I heard they were just great people, and they will be missed. I don't know David Bowie's personality outside of his artistry, stuff like that. I just respect him as an artist. But yeah, God, it's such a loss and everything like that. But yeah. Man, now I'm sad.
Yeah. So, with that said and done, everybody, we'll go ahead and end the podcast, and we will see you next week. Is there anything you guys want to say?
Yes. Stay tuned afterwards for a little sneak preview of something that you'll get to see on the Facebook page, or at least hear.
In the long run, Woo-hoo! Yes. Anything you want to say, Gambit?
I got nothing.
So,
and stay tuned for a boss episode next time.
Heck yeah, next one is going to be episode 50, boss episode. So everyone, we hope to see you next week. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Stay sexy.
What kind of magic spell to use?
be dog tails. And the baby says, dance, magic, dance. Dance, magic, dance.